Well, hello there, and welcome once again to the Awaken Path podcast. It is so wonderful to have you always stop by and give me your love as I share with you mine. Today, our topic is the Ascension symptoms, which you may have been feeling. The energy has been becoming really intense, and I want to address what this looks like for you and what this means for you. It's been 10 days now since Mars, the god of war, the ruler as a planet of Aries, of new beginnings, of initiation, of work, has finally gone back to forward movement after having been in retrograde motion for almost 2 months. What that path did for us is take us inside, take us into revisiting how do we show up in the world with what we do, but especially how we do what we do. The way in which you're doing them may have changed, or you may have had some insights on certain tweaks and course corrections you want to do to what you do in your life, professionally especially, or to the way in which you show up as a vocation. 3 days after Mars went direct, Venus, the spiritual cosmic counterpoint and counterpart to Mars, went retrograde. So as you're watching this video on March 8th, at least 8 days have gone by for this Venus retrograde motion, which will last 6 weeks. First in the sign of Aries, again ruled by Mars, so interesting interactions there, and then moving into Pisces, the softer, more romantic water sign. But what Venus does when it goes retrograde, just like any planet going retrograde invites us to go in this case, Venus's invitation is go inside to connect with your body, connect with this costume, this cosmic costume, this temple body, and feel into, are you taking care of it? How is your ritual for self-love? Are you really nurturing your body at all levels? Are you feeding it wonderful foods, colorful, nourishing foods? Are you going out to walk, to be in nature? Are you stepping barefoot on the earth? Are you taking time to meditate and become that witness to this body that is hosting the spirit that you are? Because let's not forget, we are light. We are divine spirit having an experience in the body. And Venus is all about, do I need to do more of that? Do I want to book a massage right now? Do I want to receive an energy healing? Do I want to get into a bath filled with Epsom salts or bubbles? Or what is it that your body is needing for you to take better care of this beautiful container that hosts your soul? This is really what Venus is bringing us as an awareness and as a journey. It is the perfect time to fine tune what that means for us, as in the northern hemisphere especially, we're heading into spring, and in the southern hemisphere, we're heading into the fall. Either way, when there's a change of season, things change for our bodies. The temperature changes, the type of food that we're meant to eat changes, and at the same time that this is happening, there has been a powerful shift in the ascension energetics. And you may or may have not been conscious about this shift, but for sure you have been feeling it, even if what you have been feeling is not something you were aware that it meant that you were tuning into the ascension. So, what does this look like when these energies go powerfully into the expansion, supporting all of humanity into the ascension path? And before I tell you what that looks like, I want to clarify something, because also many people say, well, what is the ascension path? And the ascension path is really a path that we cannot say no to. The ascension path is where Earth is directed, regardless of the fact that you may or may not be aware that that is happening. The difference is that if you're not aware, ascension is happening around you and you're not consciously really taking the steps to support yourself energetically in your own ascension path. You're going around life And that's okay too. But most likely, 99.9%, if you're here watching what I'm saying, then you are aware that this is happening. And as such, you're truly in your own individual ascension, supporting the ascension for all of humanity. The good news is that for all of humanity to tip the scales and support the ascension path, we really need a leverage point of around 5% of humanity being in this path. And we're probably at like 2.5 or 3. These are very similitude percentages, but really that's all it takes. So welcome and thank you for being a part of this journey. So back to what I was saying. What does it look like when we are having these big shifts? What is happening in your life when these shifts are happening for all of the earth? And I am asking you to tune in for a moment and think back for the last couple of weeks or last month even. How have you been feeling physically? Are you waking up filled with energy, or are you waking up and lethargically really crawling outside of the bed? Are you feeling like your head is expanded, or are you having headaches? And you must consciously ground yourself to be able to go about your day. Are you having mood swings? Are you having intense changes from, oh, I'm doing great, wah, and you're mad, or you may be depressed, or you may be manically happy? And as this, you may be saying, yeah, right, well, that's everything. But no, what I'm marking here is these counterpoints. You are feeling potentially one of these two contrasts. So you may be tuning into the lower frequency of how the ascension manifests in the material third dimensional reality, which is that lower frequency of constriction of all the things that are happening in the world, in the political dimensions, in the financial dimensions of the world. If you're focusing on it is so hard to be on earth at this time. If you're focusing on what is the president doing? What is the president of America doing? What is the president of Russia doing? What are the Ukrainians and Putin discussing about? What's happening with Gaza and Israel? And if you're constantly looking at that, you are probably feeling that compression, feeling that pressure that's coming up and that has nowhere to go, because that's the lower level experience of a three-dimensional world in which yin yang, the duality of contrast, is the ruling game, because that is what a three-dimensional reality is all about. The brain, left and right. When you're in the mind, all you do is see 2 points of a thing. You are not able to find that resolution unless you come down to the heart. So then the question is, like I was saying, are you tuning to that lower frequency experience of the ascension, or are you actually able, through your own morning ritual practice, through tuning into prayer, into meditation, into shamanic journeying, into walking in nature, whatever it is that you do, or the series of things you do to tune in to the highest expression that is possible for your experience, then you may be tuning into this higher frequency of the expansion. It's a frequency where there's possibility, where there's hope, where you can see that in the expansion. That's why you may be having headaches or be floaty. The headaches come from your pineal gland and pituitary gland and this third brain that is our radio antenna for the mystical experience being pinpointed, being expanded and activated. So that's where the headache comes from. And I advise you not to take headache painkillers, because those would stop the process. You want to honor that with better hydration, water and lemon, water and apple cider vinegar, walking in nature, getting the sun directly into your eyes for at least 15-30 seconds a day. Yes, it is okay to look at the sun, to go out into the sun and allow the sun to touch your skin, to activate that aliveness, to give you those codes that come through the light of the sun that activate your DNA to be supported in the ascension path. When you tune into the higher frequency of the ascension path, you are tuning into that higher end of the curve, knowing that there is hope, that what you're seeing of the contrast is really an illusion, and that when you go beyond that, you tune into the frequency that love is really what's out there. And that as a conscious being of spirit having an experience in a temple body, you have the ability, and actually I should say the responsibility, of bringing that light and illuminating the community in which you move. The community that can be your family, your children, your grandchildren, the places where you work. And don't worry, it's not like you have to actively do something or talk to people about what you know to be true. Being you, irradiating your light, that's enough. Wherever you go, from the simplest encounters where you maybe are going to the grocery store and interacting with the cashier and looking at this person in the eyes. Nobody looks at them in the eyes. One moment of contact changes their day. They are seen and they feel it, and you thank them with a smile, can change radically the day of this person. You have the ability to be impactful in the world, holding this higher frequency by simply being you, and stay aligned, centered, and attuned to these energies that are expanding, that are the ascension energies. I was saying, have you been feeling this shift? Have you been tuning into the lower frequencies so that rings true to you? Well, you have a task. Let's shift that. So how can you shift that? If you are naturally in the worry, if maybe you're going through pain or grief, because in your life right now, there's a lot of difficulty happening. Somebody you love may have passed. Somebody you love may be really ill. So you are in that frequency of pain and grief, and that pulls you down even further, and you're mostly tuning into that lower frequency of the ascension. Then be aware of that. Step number 1 is becoming aware. And step number 2 is making a choice. How do I feel when I connect and I stay in that muck? Is that making me feel good? Most likely the answer is no. Then the third point is you have a choice. What are you going to do? You can choose to be proactive and conscious in shifting your perception, where you focus your attention. Remember, where attention goes, energy flows. So how do you do this? You establish a consistent morning ritual, consistently every day. The first thing you fill your cup with is the connection with the divine. You open your eyes, tune into the gratitude of being alive, the gratitude that is not a given of being in a body that functions, the gratitude that is not for granted of living life and experiencing all of the sensorial expressions of life in a body that can move, that can feel. The gratitude of having clean water, most likely coming out of a faucet, or the ability of having enough of an internet connection that you can be watching this video. Gratitude already will pull you up into high frequency, because gratitude is one of the highest frequencies for humans to experience when it's truthfully felt. And then connect with the divine. You don't need to be religious to connect with God, Mother, Father, God, or the Creator or universe. You don't need to be religious to understand that this higher frequency of the divine is a frequency that's everywhere and that you can connect with. And ask for help, ask for support in your prayer. And I know the word prayer many times triggers people because people associate it immediately with religion. I am not following any religion. Prayer is just the inner intention, the inside intention of connecting with the divine and having a conversation with Creator. And it's a two-way conversation. You ask, you listen, you feel, you give thanks. And when you're complete, you start your day. My invitation is that when you're complete with that part of your morning ritual, you actually stay tuned and you meditate. Meditation being the conscious act of intending to connect with the witness within and help the mind that's like a monkey jumping all the time to quiet down. And then you start your day. And you may start your day by moving your body, by having a nourishment breakfast. And by the time you get out into the world, your frequency is so much higher than it would be otherwise that you can hold onto it even as things happen around the world. And if for some reason you get veered off, you have more awareness that that has happened, and you can consciously bring yourself back with it. Take a moment, pause, breathe 3 times, tune in, and bring yourself back to gratitude. So here we are. The ascension is happening. This is how you feel it. This is how you recognize it. But there's other things happening at other levels on earth. And what is happening is that famous sacred sites are expanding in the impact of the energy moving through them. And new sites are becoming vortices of sacred energy. If you are called to visiting certain sites like Glastonbury or Hawaii or Mount Shasta or Egypt or any of the places you're being called to visit, even places that are not standard spiritual sacred meccas of energy, go there. Know that all that is needed is for you to be in those places, to exchange codes with the land, and then go about your world and bring those codes again into your community. I would love, love, love to hear from you because I want to know what's happening for you, what's happening in your world, how are you connecting with the community of like-minded beings and like-minded souls. Please leave me a message. For you wanting more clarity and support on how to honor your morning ritual, I invite you to download the free handout on my website. I'll leave the link in the description to this video. It's free, it's wonderful because it helps you understand how a morning ritual can truly address the needs of the mind, the body, the soul, and the heart. It's not just meditation, there's so much more to it. And finally, I invite you to hit the button to subscribe to this channel so that every time I put a new video out there, you get a message. And I would love for you to please spread the voice. If you liked this video, share it with your friends. Help me get more reach. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Much love to you and many blessings.